So hi friends, welcome to our YouTube channel, and in this video we are going to see about the API gateway. So what is actually a API gateway, why we use API gateway, and what are the steps to use API gateway in our applications. Okay, so one by one we will cover everything about the API gateway. Till here we have seen lots of things about the microservice, and in this is a video about the API gateways. Okay, in this video you will see all about the API gateways, what, why, and how to implement it. Okay, everything we will cover here. So let's start. So what is API gateway? So let's understand with real life examples what is actually a API gateways. Okay, first example is if we of companies. Okay, if we went to do the company, we are not able to talk to directly or meet. If we want to meet to directly to the director of that company, we are not able to talk to them. Okay, we are not able to directly meet to them. First of all, we need to meet to the receptionist. Receptionist will give you the directions where you need to go, and are you able to meet to the director or not at this point of time. Okay, so all these things is there is a middle person, means a receptionist is a middle person. So this is happening in real life. Okay, and it is good that there should be someone who can understand and then forward to the director. Okay, this is not a good way if we directly go to the directors and we are able to meet to the director, right? This is not a good uh, way for any companies. Okay, same things in if we want to complain any request, any complaint in a telecom department or any e-commerce department. So first of all, if we see in an example, a customer, if we wanted say call to the receptionist and saying that I want to file a complaint against my last purchase. So receptionist will what will say, no problem, please wait while I forward your call to the complaint department. So we are not able to directly call to the complaint departments. First we need to interact with some middle persons who will forward our call. If it is right, then they will forward our call to the departments. Okay, directly we are not able to talk to the complaint departments. Okay, so this is a middle persons in a real life case. So do you think that is in a microservice cases also we need a middle or not? We don't require. So let's see. Okay, do you think that it is good that our UI application are able to directly call to the microservice? Obviously not. Okay, if our UI application web are directly able to call to the microservices, then what will happens? So let's see, in our application the UI applications has to send the request to different microservice directly. But since the microservices are in a cloud, and what has happened if there is microservices are in a cloud, hostname and port name are randomly changing, frequently changed. Okay, so hence it is not suitable for UI application to talk to the directly to the microservices. Okay, because host name and port name are changing because our microservice is in the cloud. So host name and port name are changing. So what will be the better approach? So better approach if there is someone else in the middle. Okay, so the better approach is UI application send its request to the proxy server, which then forward the request to the appropriate microservices. This type of proxy server also called reverse proxy also. In microservice architecture, the client may have sent request to multiple servers directly to get the final data. So if something is happen like that, as means UI application want to request to multiple services to get the data, what will happen? What are the problems with this approach if you directly talk to the microservices? So there is a problems. Let's see one by one. The client is now responsible for both the gathering, aggregations, and formatting the content. So whatever content is coming, now client UI applications will he is responsible for gathering that data as well as aggregate the data, and whatever format they want to change the content. For all these things, now who is responsible? Client is responsible, because a microservice will send the response, and now there is no other persons who can do this all these things. So in that case, client is responsible for that. Okay, second problems is the client must know the port and host name of service. If they changing contently, then the client code also has to change. What is meaning of that? So the client application want to talk to the microservice which is in a cloud, and host name and port name change. If host name and port name change, client need to change the accordingly the host name and port name. No, there is no other persons who can say that now the host name and port name is different of this microservice. Okay, so now hard code to the client code and change the port name. This is all responsibility is now client in this case. Okay. Third problem is if we decided to refactor the service later on by merging two services together, it would break the client. Means the client won't talk to this microservices till here, but now the cases is coming, something is changes, and we are merging services. But now if the client want to talk, he will not able to talk to them because he is not able to get whatever he wanted because two microservices are now merged. So whatever he wanted now he is not able to get the data, and also he is not able to talk to directly to the microservice. This is the problem. Fourth problem, if suppose in protocols, as we know, the communication between the applications and microservices happen with the protocols. So this may happen. The service may not always respond back in HTTP protocols, and so this may happen that the microservice, whatever the response come in another protocols, and our Microsoft, our browser is supporting HTTP protocols. So there should be something that can translate this protocols so that our UI application is compatible to get the data. Okay, so this is also a problem that protocol translations. And next problem is the number of requests fired by the client is more. This may happen that now who is responsible for that? If client fire the request, multiple request fires, right? And next problem, different client need different data as well. Okay, so what microservice, whatever data he is, he will directly respond to the client, but the client need different data, all different clients, and microservice is one, and all clients need different type of data. All clients don't need all data should be come. So filter, who will do filter, client or microservice? Okay, so this is also a problems. So these are the problems related to this approach, where what is the approach? Directly our UI application talk to the microservices. These are the problems with this approach. We have seen lots of problems come, so this API gateway will solve that problems. Okay, so let's see what actually does API gateway. So API gateway perform complex task including this. So API gateway, what actually does here, if we put between this microservice and UI application, there is a API gateway comes. Okay, so what it will do, the task, complex task that is performed by this API gateway is first is intelligent routing. What is the meaning of that intelligent routing? This API gateway is responsible to route this request to appropriate microservices. By the diagram you can understand this UI applications route the whatever he wanted microservice. Now this API gateway is responsible to connect to which microservice for this request. Here is a responsibility is API gateway. So first task that performed by the application API gateway is intelligent routing. Second task that perform is client specific APIs. Means whatever client required APIs, API gateway will responsible for call to the particular microservice and means APIs and provide. So this is our suppose this is a web and this is mobile application. These two clients want to connect to microservices. So here responsibility is API gateway. Means API gateway means there is solution for both a mobile application and web application may require different treatment, obviously require different treatments. Okay, so who is responsible? API gateway will do this, that which microservice I have to connect to for this web client, which microservice I have to connect to for the mobile applications. Okay, so API gateway do this complex. These are the tasks that are performed by the API gateway. Okay, so API gateway also do some more task. Okay, like a request aggregations, protocol translation, security, load balancing. Request aggregation means based on a signal request from the client, it will invoke multiple service aggregation, the result and send back. So request aggregations means multiple whatever the request comes, this may require that a request may require to more than one microservice. So whatever the result come, this result will aggregated and then sent to the client. This is responsibility of API gateway. So API gateway do this task also. Okay. Next is protocol translation means it will be responsible means API gateway is responsible. Suppose there is a protocol are changing. Okay, from services it is protocol is AMQP, and from client there is a HTTP. So who will do this translation? API gateway will translate this protocol translations. And also it performs security and load balancing. Means security, how, suppose if you wanted to put some security in constants here, so we can put here in API gateway security constant. Means a particular client is able to talk to the particular microservice or not. Means all security constant we can put here. So these are the tasks which is performed by the API gateway. Okay. So what are the API gateway which is available for this? So the various API gateway which help intelligent routing load balancing are Joule and Spring Cloud Gateway. These are the two which is perform API gateway. Such definitions: if you want, an API gateway is a software application between client and set up backend microservices. The API gateway serves a reverse proxy to accept API calls from client application and forward this traffic to the appropriate service. The API gateway also enforces security, ensure scalability, and also perform high availability. A key benefit of API gateway is the abstractions between backend microservices. There is abstractions, means a client don't know about the microservices, so there is a abstraction between them. Also centralized access to decentralized microservices. Means the microservices are different at the different positions. Okay, means that they are decentralized, but client will see it like that it is a centralized because it is talking to directly with a URL, single URL. So it will look like that there is a one microservice which is responding, but actually it is not. In the real case it is not. Okay. Also, what are the benefits? Management and discovery for scalable distributed service. Abstraction from microservice language and protocols also independent. Means what language will be there, what protocol is used there. So all this is also abstracted from because of this API gateway. Routing the microservice based on development strategy. Whatever the strategy, accordingly routing will be done. Traffic control also provided by this. Means if there is overloading, so that will also controlled by this API gateway. Also, common features and benefits of API gateway like authentication. It provide authentication, authorization, audits. Means as I already told you that whatever required securities we can put here. So if a client application is really authenticated, and then it will be able to, means the right person will be able to write microservices only if it is right. So authentication and authorization we can put there. Okay. Traffic management is also done by there, and threat protection. So means any threats comes, that protections is also done by this API gateway. So there is lots of things that is done by the API gateway. We have seen API gateways, as well as you can see. Okay. Now the next things what I am saying here, if we have seen diagrams, for web application there is a different gateway, and for mobile application there is a different gateway. And it is able to say for web there is a gateway for web, and which will be interactive with all microservices. What are the microservices are there? Okay. And mobile, there is a mobile gateway which is able to talk to the microservice. Means we are dedicating web application, there is a dedicated gateway. For mobile application there is a dedicated mobile gateway. So what is a BFF or backend for front end is variations the API gateway pattern. Instead of having a single API gateway for all type UI application, means for all UI application, if we use API gateway, instead of that, if we have a dedicated API gateway for desktop and mobile application, and you so so if what we want to say, we can have dedicated API gateway for desktop and client etc. Okay, so what will the advantages of this dedicated gateway is that can configure the routing to their specific need. Accordingly, they can configure it. Okay, so maintenance is done by the same team. So whatever the required things, they can configure accordingly. Okay, so this is the advantages if we use dedicated gateways for them. Okay, so now there is a two gateway now in the implementations. There is a two things, we can use Joule or Spring Cloud gateway. Okay, so in next video we will see the each steps to apply our API gateway in our application. How? Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video, and please look at the next video how to implement it. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and like, share and comment. Thank you.